We flew into Marsh Harbor, in the Abaco Island group, from several locations around the country. Aviva and Lou came from New York, Seth and Michelle from Arizona, Chip, Jill, Paul and Laureen from Points in Florida, Kozo and I flying down from Detroit. Arriving in mid-afternoon, we had a couple of hours to kill before the boat was ready. Hopping over to Snappa's Bar and Grill, right next to the Konkan Marina, we all enjoyed an extended afternoon lunch, accompanied by cocktails. We were scheduled to board the vessel at 5, but the cleaning crew had not yet finished their tasks, so we holed up in the Dream Yacht base office. Finally at 6:15, we were escorted down to the dock, and stowed our bags on deck. Paul and Laureen finally showed up, having missed their flight in Miami, but their bags were lost in transition. With unseasonal temps in the 50s, and the wind blowing over 20 knots, we stayed on the dock. We met Captain Kay and our lovely cook, Mitzi. Souvenir bags were handed out, along with swim trunks for the boys and sweaters for the girls. We dispersed to our cabins, unpacked, and generally got comfortable with the layout of our 58-foot Fontaine Pajot catamaran. And there was calamari enough for all. We had an interesting breakfast of tomato vegetable soup and grilled cheese sandwiches. Laureen headed back to the airport to try to locate their bags. Since the wind was still blowing like crazy, Aviva, Lou, Kozo and I took a walk along Bay Drive. It was a short hop over to Great Guana Key. We were able to raise the jib for a time, but the wind was still pretty stiff, and blowing out of the northwest. Captain moved the boat around the corner to our evening anchorage where we enjoyed cocktails, a lovely sunset, and a meal prepared by our cook. Chip and I helped Captain raise anchor around 10 a.m., and we set sail for Nunjak Key via Green Turtle Key. Still a bit windy, we headed north into a stiff swell. Chip and I stayed topside with Captain Kay, while the rest of the crew stayed below in the salon and on the aft deck. Another catamaran joined us for the crossing into open ocean. Waves crashed over the reefs to our right and left. Chip and I enjoyed the ride. Once through the cut, the seas settled down a little bit. We arrived mid-afternoon, and dropped anchor in a sheltered spot in sight of a small beach. Aviva, Michelle and Lou blew up the traditional red floats, and tried to get enough air into the stand-up paddle boards. Michelle braved the still chilly air to float for a bit. It was a popular anchorage. We soon discovered that there weren't quite enough paddles to go round all four watercraft. Aviva attempted to stand on one of the paddle boards, but it didn't have enough rigidity to let her get upright. And the paddles were too short.
Proud of us for blowing up all the floats?
Of course.
Captain told us that boats like to spend a few days here in winter. Nestled between Crab Key and Nunjak Key, we prepared to spend the evening. Around 5:30 the sun dropped below the horizon, giving us a spectacular light show to go along with our cocktails. We got up around 7:30 and had a nice breakfast of pancakes, hard-boiled eggs and fruit. Mitzi always put out fresh produce, and lots of coffee. Laureen did her usual hour-long workout on the foredeck. About 9:30 we raised anchor and sailed a bit north to a lovely cove at the tip of Nunjac Key. Dropping anchor again, the floats went in the water, along with the kayaks. Around 1 p.m. we sailed south towards Green Turtle Key. We had a good breeze for a bit, enough to tickle the Michigan flag in our jib sheet. We made a short stop in the harbor at Green Turtle to pick up provisions. Laureen and Seth went ashore in the dinghy with the captain. Just past Green Turtle, we dropped anchor again at No Name Key, home of the infamous swimming pigs of Abacoa. A few brave souls went ashore with the dinghy to feed the pigs. Aviva found out the hard way that the pigs were extremely ferocious and hungry for the taste of human flesh.
Alright, you can take a walk. Yeah.
Come on. Where'd the rooster go?
Captain fed the well-behaved pigs. And soon we were back on the boat enjoying our evening cocktail. Paul bought some ceviche from the crew on the dock, which was quite tasty. Even though we were anchored within a stone's throw of the swimming pigs, no one seemed interested in offering up a human sacrifice. After breakfast, we hauled anchor and set out for Man O' War in Hope Town. By noon we were well south of No Name Key, headed for Fowl Key, a national park. Dropping anchor, the snorkelers donned masks and fins, and hopped into the shallow water for a spin around the reefs. Daryl went in the water for a while, then came back aboard and flew his drone overhead. With everyone back on board, we cruised past Man o' War Key. Captain assured us there wasn't much to see there, so we headed further south to Hopetown and Elbow Key. The lighthouse is very picturesque, and the town looked like it would be fun to wander about. After that stop, we rounded the Cape and sailed south to our evening mooring near Tahiti Beach. Aviva had special plans for the evening, as we had 2 birthdays to celebrate. She and Karen were below deck blowing up 100 balloons.
You know, I will say this is Mitzi's
Hey.
daughter's 2nd birthday today.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Melrose.
I wish she was on board.
Can you guys make a wish and blow the candles?
Yeah.
Or
not
Before the boat burns down.
Photos. That's so
Mama.
That's
Very
good.
good. Make a wish.
Make a wish.
I think she holds up your little
Don't
beer.
blow.
Don't blow. Don't blow. Clap them. Clap them.
Okay.
Don't spit on it.
Pictures. Hold up your picture. You can eat the whole plate.
Picture. The whole plate. The whole plate. Yes, it's supposed to go on top of the cake.
There you go.
There you go. Throw it together. Go together.
It's like Wimbledon.
Nice. Okay, let's sing Happy Birthday again.
That's so amazing.
Happy birthday.
Captain picked up the anchor early to avoid the shallows near Tahiti Beach. I lazily stayed in bed while Chip did anchor duty. Headed for Pelican Cays, we soon anchored in a lovely lagoon near several promising reefs. We ate the usual breakfast of fruit, bagels and coffee. Around 8:30, Captain gave us his plan for the day.
Morning I've ever had in a long time. I can tell you that. So anyway, we're now in the south part of Abaco, where all of the beaches are, and then the reef that I want you to explore is right behind me. That's called Sandy Key Marine Reserve. It's all protected in the inside where we don't fish, we don't spare fish, we don't do any type of sport fishing. Right behind you would be Pelican Key. That's also a beach. The 3 of them are all together. So you have Pelican, number 3 Pelican, number 2 Pelican. All of these are Pelican Keys.
The snorkelers geared up and dropped into the water. Kozo and I stayed aboard on the bridge, keeping an eye out for anyone in trouble. Captain went in the water with the dinghy, and together we made sure no one was out of sight. Chip swam a bit, and found that the current was a bit stronger than he thought. In no rush this morning, we broke out the calamari jerky, which Michelle found indescribably tasty. Later that afternoon, we all went ashore on Linyard Key. V and Lou and Paul and Laureen took the kayaks ashore, and the rest of us went in the dinghy. I took some headshots for Cap and Kay to use for publicity, while the others walked along the beach. A rough trail around a volcanic spit and through the brush led us to the wild side of the island. On the other side, we discovered a lot of debris pulled off the beach, and moved out of the way of the tides. On the way back, we met 2 couples sailing from Maine. Cap and Kay appeared to know them from a previous encounter, and joined them later for dinner. He didn't get back to the boat until well after dark, worrying a few of us. We played left center right with slips of paper for currency and cards instead of dice. Some of the group was overserved, let's just say everyone had a whale of a good time. This was our last full day on the water. We were in no particular hurry to get back to Marsh Harbor, so we lingered at Pelican Key in the morning. Daryl got his drone into the air again, while Michelle floated lazily in the tubes. Some of the crew snorkeled the reef, spotting rays and colorful native fish in the water. Around noon, we ate up the remaining chicken and fish, along with some shrimp we found lurking in the fridge. Cruising north towards Great Guana Key, we opted to eat our last dinner ashore, at one of the local pubs. Anchored in the bay, we took the dinghy to the beach in shifts. Aviva, Kozo, Lou and I returned the wetsuits to the dive shop, and then we met up with the others at Nippers, on the north side of the island, for tropical cocktails.
Frozen nipper or margarita?
On Nippers Beach, we spent a little time just listening to the waves, and watching others walking, jogging, or strolling past.
No comment.
Back on the boat before dinner, we enjoyed our evening cocktails. Dinner at Grabbers on the beach was fun. We pre-ordered so our food would not take too long. Grabbers outdid themselves getting our food ready.
Alright, my little pretty, I'm going to take you on your little doggy too.
Wow, you are awesome. He's not done, Chuck.
You said too long. No, he said no.
Do you have anything you'd like to say?
What a wonderful time.
I'm so glad I was invited to Lou and Aviva's wedding. It was so wonderful. And I'm so glad that I got. Oh, you mean this was it?
No, we were there once.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
After supper, Lorene challenged the local ringer to a game of cornhole.
No, you played at 21.
Connect 4 proved popular as well.
How do you feel about winning?
Fantastic.
Put this one in. Buy me a margarita if I get this in.
No, but you get it, you buy us.
I buy 5 margaritas. No, I'm not buying it. I win.
Oh, very good.
Several rum punches later, we were all back on the boat. Sad to see the trip come to an end.
I have no idea.
Will someone tell me so it is how you pronounce the island we're on?
Abaco.
Abaco, thank you.
Abaco.
I figured I had to leave knowing one thing. Where you went? Right, when someone says, where did you go? I have no idea.
Parker. $1,000 worth of video.
No, that's not what she meant.
$1,000.
Some of us woke up early to see a magnificent sunrise over Great Guana Key. Chip and I hauled up the anchor, and then spent a good 15 minutes trying to untangle the bridle from the anchor fluke, where it had gotten fouled. Captain came down from the bridge, and the 3 of us managed to get the bridle shackle back on board. With Chip at the helm, we managed to stay off the submerged rocks in the vicinity, and set off for Marsh Harbor.
Yes, Mr. Photographer! I love it!
It was a quick trip across, and the seas were calm. A few clouds had gathered, but we still didn't have enough wind to raise the sails. Our crew spent the last hours just relaxing on deck, or sending one last email. Too soon, we were back at the harbor, eating one last Mitzi breakfast.
Sitting at her place, just leave it there.
It's a valuable lesson for him.
Finish your food. Don't get up from the table. But she's like a cat.
We had one last task: lowering the Michigan flag from the mainmast.
We still have the knife over?
Drive what? One more rendition, please.
Hail to
The victors valiant, hail to the conquering heroes.
Everybody knows the song that I've been singing now, but I don't know the song.
To Michigan, the champions of the West. Go blue!
Go blue!
All right, so we go like that, and then we go like this.
No. See, no. You want to do too much things at once.
That's because I'm so drawn to you.
Exactly. And then I'll bring the jet.
Okay. There we go. Got it.
See, you always recording something. Look at him. Just look at him.
At the fuel station in the marina, we gathered for group shots on the bridge. We jumped over the rail onto the dock, and said our farewells to those headed back to Miami.
Bye, y'all. All right, guys, safe flight back. Thank you.
Seth and Michelle, Daryl and Pam, and Paul and Maureen all had a 12 o'clock flight. The rest of us had a later flight to Atlanta, so we chilled at the base for a bit. Kozo, Aviva and I walked down the street to the little market, in search of guava jelly and other little items to take home. Then the taxi took us to the airport, and we said farewell to the Abacos.